Got my helpers for this next part, which I really enjoy, but it's also kind of a juggling act. We're ready to move over. So first thing I'm going to do, shut off both pumps. Turn off my valves. Disconnect this. Now instead of running the bottom of the mash tun through the Herms coil, I'm going to start running it into the boil kettle. Instead of whirlpooling, I'm going to turn that heater off. I'm going to start cycling the water into the Herms coil. Now we don't want to do this too quick because we don't want to pull out the wort too quick to where we compact the grain bed and end up stopping the flow. But we also don't want to add too much water and stir up the grain bed and get a lot of sediment. So the first thing I'm going to do is turn on pump 2. Crack this open. Get a nice slow flow. Let's see here. Get a little extra water on top. There we go. So I mark where I'm at, about 6.5 to 7 gallons, and I try and keep the grain at about that point. Now we'll turn on pump 1, and this is where the magic happens because we get to start seeing this beautiful wort. So now we're gonna slowly pull the wort into the boil kettle. Oh, not that quick. It's nice crystal clear wort that smells delicious, while balancing the flow of this pump and this pump, the in and the out. As you can see, right up to 7, so I'm going to slow the other pump a bit and try and match them so I stay right here the entire time until I'm about 6.5, 7 gallons in the boil kettle. Staying at about 7. Just about at 4 gallons. I now have the heating element covered, so I'm gonna start getting the boil kettle heating up. Alright, just about ready to stop. I'm gonna pull a little pipe into this. Pre-boil gravity check. Let's see. Boil kettle's probably hotter than that. So I'm not cycling the water in a whirlpool yet, but we're just about ready to do that. Okay, time to swap some things around. Let's turn pump 1 off. Shut my mash tun valve. Shut this valve. Shut this valve. This valve shut. Shut this valve. Alright, so now what we're going to do is use this pump to whirlpool. So, also shut that valve. Alright, got our valve shut off. Let's disconnect this. Use this pump to pull out of the bottom of the boil kettle, go through this pump, up into the whirlpool. Right here. Let's open our valve. Open this one. Turn on pump 2. Probably do a little bit slower whirlpool. As we approach our boiling temperature, Let's see what temperature we read. Saying 172 right now. It'll probably go up quick because it was hotter than 158. Alright, I'm going to call that boil. Let's add our first ounce of Williamette. Great smelling hop. We are at 30 minutes into the brew, ready to add our second ounce at the 30-minute mark of Williamette. This will give us a little bit of bittering, mostly flavor, and then we'll add one last ounce 15 minutes before we cool, and that'll give us our aroma. So alright, the part they never show you, the cleanup. Some barley for the compost heap. Time for the aroma hops. 15 minutes to go. Add those. So we have 15 minutes to go. Gonna turn pump 2 off. Close this valve for a second. We're going to connect this whirlpool to right here, and then this output back up into the whirlpool so that we can sterilize our cooling coil. Aroma hops have been added. Instead of running this through the pump and back up to the whirlpool, now I'm running it through the pump into this coil with the boiling liquid to sterilize it, back out into the whirlpool. I'm running this pump through the coil on the outside jacket as a counterflow chiller. Instead of running through a hose and wasting a bunch of water, I waste a bunch of electricity by freezing several of these, and I'll put the hose in one end and let it trickle out the other end to cool the water. I figure in a desert it's better to waste your electricity than drinking water. So give it 15 minutes and we'll start chilling. Alright, I've turned the heating element off. We've had it running through the counterflow chiller for about 10 minutes. It's got to be sterilized by now. So I'm going to just keep it at this slow whirlpool. I'm going to plug in the pump to pump the ice water through the counterflow chiller and just keep cycling it through. That way I can read what temperature the wort's at, and once it gets down to about 70 degrees, I'll pump it into the carboy. So I got the counterflow chiller going and just recirculating back into the pot. As you can see, it's dropping pretty quick, which is what you want. Get nice protein coagulation. Okay, we're finally down to temperature. Start pumping the wort. It's okay if we oxidize it at this point because it's cold. I'm going to do it anyways. I'm going to check our gravity. Now it's time to oxygenate the carboy by shaking the hell out of it until I get my oxygenation stone. And then we'll pitch our yeast and we're good for the night. Well, after all the cleaning. Time to pitch our yeast. Smells good. Put our temperature probe in. The cork on nice and tight. We're good. See it in a week and a half. There you have it. We're done with the brew. Gonna ferment at 68 degrees. As you can see, this is batch 4 of the whiskey. Got a little too excited and damn near sprayed the entire room, but both are smelling wonderful. And cheers from McGill Brew and Spirit.